Welcome to the Regal Eagle Report. I'm Wasia.
I'm Ria.
And I'm Marsh, and we're your co-hosts.
We are Team 2869, a diverse and inclusive team located at Bethpage High School.
We are aiming for our podcast to be an outlet to interact with other teams and collaborate on varied ideas and thoughts.
We are so excited to introduce our brand new series where we will be interviewing one team from each state.
Embark on our journey as we will be aiming to hit every state, reaching our goal of 50.
For this week's episode, we will be interviewing J.H. Bronx from Wyoming.
So please introduce yourselves as well as your position on the team. We'll start first. So I'm Marsh, and I'm the captain of the team.
I'm Wasia, and I'm podcast manager.
And I'm Bria. I'm the vice president of operations.
I'm Gabe. I'm the business captain of our team.
And I'm Parker. I'm the mechanical and kind of technical captain of our team.
Perfect. Okay, so now we'll start with our questions. Our first question is, when was your team founded? Like, what is its origin?
So our team was founded back in 2009. So prior to the Jacksonville Rubber Bronx being founded, we had some local FLL teams and things like that. But our FRC program started in 2009.
Was there a story behind your team's name?
So out here in Wyoming, a lot of things are very Western and so on, Cowboys, all that stuff. And so, especially in Jackson, all of our sports teams were it's the Bronx, it's everything. So when our coach founded our team, he decided to use the Bronx just for that kind of that name recognition. So in our community, if someone sees, it's the J.H. Robo Bronx, it's instantly recognizable.
So how many years have each of you guys been part of FRC?
I've been part of FRC since my freshman year, or we've both been part since our freshman year. We're seniors now. But we also both did FLL and FTC prior to joining FRC.
Very cool.
So where's your school located? Is it in a big school district or small?
So we are the only high school in our school district. The next closest high school is probably 45 minutes away. Pretty rural area. Yeah.
Approximately how many people are in your team?
On our team. So our team has this year, it's about 25 kids. In the past, our team has ranged anywhere from 9 kids to just about 30 or so.
How has your team helped increase membership from the underclassmen?
So a large part of this for us is kind of our FLL and FTC programs. We have 6 FTC teams, if I'm not mistaken, that we kind of use as a training channel. And so both of us, in addition to being on our FRC team, we captain an FTC team. So that and we get to work that allows us to work more one-on-one with the underclassmen. And then on top of that, we also have in our school district 40 some FLL teams that we kind of use those to kind of, as they move up into higher and higher grades, build a younger generation of Robo Bronx.
So you guys have a lot of teams, so I'm assuming you have a lot of funds from your school district?
Yeah. So back in, I believe it was 2018, our team worked super, super hard with our local school district to secure an annual grant. So right now, our school gives our team just around $80,000 a year to help fund all of our different programs. And that is going to be in place for the foreseeable future.
Gotcha. And besides your school, how do you guys manage getting other sponsorships?
Yeah, so one of our biggest sponsorships is from a local nonprofit organization called the Wonder Institute. They provide the building that we work out of. A lot of our funding comes from them. A lot of our mentors come from them. Their main focus prior to partnering with us was as an art organization, and they work with a lot of local youth and local artists to kind of spread art. And so they wanted to get into the STEM fields, and they wanted to get into STEM education. And so they reached out to us, and we were like, yeah, we already have programs that have kind of your same mission. So we offered to partner with them, and that's kind of how we got a lot of our funding from them.
And then alongside the Wonder Institute, every year we attend in our hometown, we have something called Old Bill's Fun Run, which at its heart, it's a 5K run, it's a 10K run, but it's also an opportunity for a bunch of nonprofits to come, and all donations that go to that are matched. So we do a tons of community outreach there. And if someone donates, let's say $50, that turns into $100, and so on and so forth. And so a lot of the money that we get also comes from there.
That's really nice. Do you guys want to share some of your other sponsors?
So in terms of who our sponsors are, all of our sponsors are local businesses and different community organizations. So outside of the Wonder Institute, our second largest sponsor is Teton Toys, which is actually a local toy store here in Jackson. We're sponsored by a couple local engineering firms, a couple construction firms, and a bunch of small companies and families and things like that.
How do you guys reach out to these like local businesses? Like I know that's something our team has been trying to work on recently. Like we try to do a little bit of like sending them like sponsorship packages, which is just like a pamphlet of our information. But what do you guys do for that?
So a lot of our sponsors actually come from parents or friends of the team. So team members will talk to their parents, and we live in a really quite small community. And so it's kind of a really tight-knit community. And so a lot of people, everyone kind of knows each other or knows somebody who knows somebody. And so we can kind of reach out to sponsors through, friends of the team. And that allows us to kind of build this network where we can kind of send out, like, I think we have an email list of our sponsors that's I don't even know how long it is, and so we'll send out weekly updates to them with how our build season's going, any outreach that we're doing, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And then on top of that, because we have like an independent lab, we're able to host open houses in our lab. And so we'll go out, we'll maybe put it in the newspaper or in an article or something like that. We'll say, hey, the Jacksonville Robobroncs are having an open house. If any sponsors, organizations, or anything like that want to stop by, feel free. And that's worked super well.
Gotcha. So now coming on to like the robot section of your team, how has your robot evolved over the years?
Yeah, so we've kind of definitely in the past few years taken a different approach to building our robots. So my freshman year, we built a robot named Cat Dog for the Infinite Recharge game, and we built it very traditionally with how we had previously built our robots. We didn't CAD much. Kind of everything was just done by prototyping until we had something that we felt was, worked for our robot. And we found that this usually yielded robots that were kind of underdeveloped. And so then my sophomore year, we really dived into CAD. We CAD'd the entire robot. That year, we didn't have access to our build space until the end of week 2. And so we were able to finish the CAD before we started building anything, and that really advanced how developed our ideas were, I think. Yeah.
And then on the flip side of that, also just on the programming side, I mean, we kind of went from this phase of, okay, let's just make our robot drive and then call it quits, to, okay, now let's actually look into how do we do some stuff with vision, how do we program a swerve drivetrain, all that fun stuff. And in terms of controls and code and all that stuff, that's definitely improved our team.
I think we can relate to that too. Since in the past few years, we haven't used too much CAD, like we use it for mechanisms, but starting like this year, we've created a full robot CAD to start off our like build season before we got into building anything. So I think we also found how it was very useful in helping us organize everything together.
Do you guys have any new or like different parts you guys added to your robot in recent years?
I would say definitely the biggest one, and I feel like a lot of teams are very similar on this, is our swerve drive. We started our swerve drive in the off season of Rapid React. And then the past 2 seasons we've used that, and we've seen like massive gains from the mobility that lends us on our robots.
Which modules do you guys use in your robot?
So the first modules we got that we used in the off season of Rapid React were SDS Mark IIIs. The ones we're using on this season's robot are SDS Mark IVs.
Same. We upgraded to the 4 eyes as well.
Yeah.
Going back to what you were saying about you being like captains of FTC teams, is that how you guys basically like mentor those teams? Does everyone, like every upperclassman almost, like become a captain of each team for FTC, or?
So our FTC structure is actually pretty unique. So we have it's a 2 and 4, it's a 4 and 2 block. So 4 of our teams are dedicated to seventh graders primarily, 6th, 7th graders.
Mm.
And so all those teams are completely comprised of 6th and 7th graders. And those students can use us as the upperclassmen. We're all available to mentor them at any time. And because we have one shared lab for everything, FLL, FTC, FRC, they can always call on us to help out with that. And then our other 2 teams have members ranging from 8th grade all the way through us as seniors. So it's 2 teams. I captain one, Parker captains the other. And through that, we've been able to hone in some of our skills throughout all the age groups, especially in preparation for the FRC season.
So, what are some of your major outreach initiatives that you guys do in your team? And this is like including any local initiatives you guys have within your community, and as well as international initiatives.
Yeah, so by far our biggest initiative on our team, we started this initiative in 2019. It's reaching out to the Wind River Reservation. That is it's a 3-hour drive away from us. Basically, we noticed that we started a couple FTC teams on the reservation in 2019, and we kind of noticed that there were some education disparities compared to where our community, and so we decided that we wanted to try and help. So we started to kind of look at why do those disparities exist. They had a 60% graduation rate, I think, and a poverty rate that is like far above the surrounding communities. So we kind of approached that outreach by we started doing clothing drives, book drives, toy drives to try and reduce the factors that contribute to the poverty rate on the reservation, to hopefully allow students to attend school through graduation.
Yeah, and so that program has been super successful over the past couple of years, and that's, to be honest, and it's trickled through. So not only has that helped education, but it's also helped them in their first teams. And one of the things that I'm super proud of is at this point in time, their FTC teams have grown to the point where now them as the reservation can say, okay, now how can we help all of the communities that are even further? And they've started their own outreach initiatives as well, which is for us super cool to see. Outside of the reservation, we do a lot of mentoring. So we currently mentor, I'd probably say around 10, 20, how many FTC teams would you say?
Including the ones on like Du Bois?
Yeah, everything.
20
or so, yeah. So we mentor around 20 FTC teams throughout the state of Wyoming, as well as pretty much every FLL team within, I'd say, a 30-mile radius of where we are. And so between all that, we definitely do a lot of work throughout Wyoming, and FIRST and all that stuff.
How did you guys reach out to like all these FTC teams and FLL teams, like besides your district?
So largely the FTC teams kind of, we started the teams on the reservation, and then as FIRST in Wyoming started to grow, a lot of these new teams kind of didn't have a starting place, and so we were going to competitions, and the teams from the reservation were going to competitions, and they were saying, we were saying, oh yeah, we'd be happy to help you guys get your robots programmed. And so then we started running kickoffs and support days where we would go to one of their schools for a day or a Saturday, and we would help program their robots. And that has kind of been a lot of it. We probably run 3 or 4 of those in the FTC season.
That's really nice. So we know your team won EI and chairman. So like what year did you win each one? And what initiatives do you think really pushed you guys to win those?
So in recent years, if I'm not mistaken, we won EI in 2018 and 2019. And then we've won Chairman's and Impact 2020, 1, 2, and 3.
We also won EI in 2022 in addition to Impact, or in addition to Chairman's.
And then what was the second part of your question?
Like what initiatives do you think really pushed you guys to win these?
So in my opinion, I think a large part of it was the Wind River Reservation. So I think we've had a couple teams in the past ask us, what is your advice for us, to win Impact or EI or anything like that. And really the best thing I can say is find what makes your community special. So for us being in Wyoming, there's tons of there's this rural area where STEM programs don't exist, and where there are educational disparities, or where we can say, this is how we as a team can help out and really help to improve this. And so I think the thing that helped us in our case was the Wind River Reservation, but at the essence of that was finding what makes us different and the opportunities that we can use as a team.
I didn't even know you could win Impact 4 years in a row.
Yeah, neither did we, I don't think, until we did it, and then we were like, what just happened? We last year. Go ahead.
Sorry, did you guys win Chairman's and EI at the same regional, or was it like two different regionals?
So we won EI at the Port Hueneme regional in California, and then we won Impact or Chairman. It was Chairman's then at the Colorado regional.
That's crazy. So you guys have obviously been to World Championships a good amount. So, in your opinions, what was your experience and what was your favorite part? I'm sure there was a lot of great parts, but if you had to name your favorite part, what would it be?
For me, I think my favorite part would be meeting teams from all over the world. Especially when we go to the Utah regional or the Denver regional, and this probably applies for all of you too, you see a lot of local teams. And so you get to know all of the Utah teams and Colorado teams and all those teams super, super well. But outside of that, you don't get that much connection with teams outside of that. So going to Worlds and meeting new teams from Israel and Brazil and Turkey and all these different countries is a super impactful experience. And also it's super fun to just meet new people and learn about their team and their culture and all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah, I think.
Sorry, you can go.
My favorite part of Worlds is definitely the energy that it has. That first ethos of gracious professionalism. You don't see that many people with that kind of those values in one place other than at First Champs. So I think that's definitely a special experience.
When we compete at our Long Island regional and our New York City regional, we see not so many, but we definitely see a good number of international teams. Do you guys have a lot of international? We've seen some from Turkey, Chinese Taipei, a lot of different international teams. So are there a lot of international teams that come to the Utah and Colorado regional too?
So as far as Utah and Colorado regionals go, I think in the past we've seen teams from mainly two countries. So we've had in 2020 and then in 2023, we've had two different teams from, I believe, the Netherlands. And then additionally, last year we had a team, last year, the year before that, we had a team from Taiwan, I believe.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And then, of course, I believe Port Hueneme had a couple other international teams, but 2022 was the only year that we attended that region.
Yeah, it's definitely nice seeing all the teams from around the world, how differently they could be compared to the local teams at different regionals. So cool. Another personal question for you guys. What sparked interest in robotics and in FIRST programs in general for both of you?
So I first joined robotics in FLL, and I was in 6th grade, and I had a friend who was in FLL, and he said, "Hey, why don't you stop by? It'll be fun." And I said, "Why not? There's free snacks." And so I stopped by, and you know what? It was a lot of fun, and I met some new friends, and I got free food, and it was a great experience. And I may have started for some of those selfish reasons to be with my friends or to eat snacks or whatever it was, but I think over time it's become more of this sense of community and a sense of like it's a home away from home. And at this point, I probably spend just as many hours at home as I do at the lab.
Yeah, for me, it was when I was in 6th grade, my cousin was the programming captain on the FRC team. And so she was like, "Yeah, you should try this out." And I was like, "Okay, sure." And then I tried it and fell in love with it. And yeah, been doing it for 7 years now.
A separate question, like have alumni within your team pursued higher education in STEM, or are you guys planning to?
So in the past, I'd say a majority of our alumni have pursued STEM education. If especially in the last 2 years, last 2, 3 years, and almost I think every single one of our alumni have either pursued post-secondary education or some form of a different STEM-related career from our team. And then also we have a good majority of alumni from our team who are mentors on our team, mentors on other teams. We had a team member from 2013 who went on to start a robotics team down in Colorado. And so now he runs his own FRC team down there.
That's really nice. So those are basically all the questions from us, and it'll be more like you guys can ask us any.
So, of course, my first question would be, what inspired you to do this? First of all, thank you for having us on here. It's super, super cool to see this. And to be honest, I haven't seen many people try to do this. If anyone tried to do this, like interview a bunch of teams from every single state. So what sparked that idea in your head?
So we started our podcast last year, and we only kind of kept it talking about our team, and we interviewed one international team from the Dominican Republic. And this year we thought to expand our reach to our whole country. So we thought it would be cool if we did a series where we interview one team from every state and kind of learn how different they are from us. And yeah, that's kind of it, really. Just to see how every team functions differently in various parts of our country.
Right. It's just another way to outreach with teams and spread information as well as, help them. And a lot of the advice that we hear from other teams can also help us. So it's nice to hear.
Super cool.
I guess another question I have about your podcast is, after you get through the 50 states, do you plan to do more international teams or?
Yeah, hopefully after 50 teams, or maybe even during, but yeah, definitely.
I think seeing the podcast and stuff and learning from all the different areas, it's kind of cool because you don't get as you were saying before, when you go to regional, you get really close to your local teams, and then you really don't hear from teams from all over. So it's a great way to reach out to different people. And then I definitely see us going to international teams, when we spoke to Dominican Republic, and we do a good number of international outreach. So it'd be nice to speak to these teams on a podcast, and so our audience could see it too.
You guys kind of asked us this. What inspired all of you to join robotics, and then what inspired all of you to stay in it and keep it and keep your passion for it?
For me, I started robotics back in 5th grade. So it was basically just, I had me and a few of my friends that we wanted to start a robotics team. I was like, hey, it might be interesting. It's Legos. It was for first Lego League at the time. So we were interested in that and figured might as well stay with it. And once we got more into it, doing all the different projects and core values, I really liked the whole way first had the whole program, and continuing that into FLL into the middle school, and then that was like it was like a no-brainer because it was something I felt deep passion for. So joining it in the high school is also really fun, and it went uphill from there. I was like in the high school, there's a lot more opportunities to do than just FLL, and a lot more freedom, I say, as part of your team, which makes it a lot better in my opinion.
Yeah.
I joined robotics in 10th grade because it was like after school and me and my friends were like, we need to join something, like we're graduating, we need something for like college, I guess. So I was like, oh, there's a robotics meeting, let's just go. And if we don't like it, we don't like it. And then I was at the meeting and there were so many people at this meeting, I literally didn't have a chair to sit down. And I liked how there was like such a big group of people. And a bunch of my friends had been doing it and I was like, I'll give it a shot. So I initially had started off in the lab and I was doing mechanical, and then I learned about the impact award and I kind of liked I first got into it by like working on like the short responses and the essays and stuff, and then actually like doing more of it and then becoming like the vice president for it, like it made me realize that I really liked like the business aspect of robotics too. Like doing and like initiating a lot of like outreach stuff was just really fun to me. Reaching out to different teams was always just like rewarding, like learning about other teams and stuff. So it's kind of like the experiences and also like a lot of what I've learned and I will take throughout the rest of my life has been from here. So yeah.
I was in the FLL team in middle school. So in FLL, I was really into like the project side, working on like coming up with like innovative ideas and all that. But I think when I came into the FRC team in high school, I was also more interested in reaching out to teams and talking to them and like collaborating with them over ideas. So yeah, that's kind of it. So that led me to stay in robotics.
For me personally, it's always cool to hear everyone's stories and see how everyone got into robotics, because for no two people is it ever the same. So it's always really cool to hear. One more question from me. What do you think is the like coolest or most unique thing, like either outreach or business or so on wise, that your team has done outside of the podcast, or like just something that you look back to and you're like, oh, that was fun, or that was cool?
I think one of our biggest events we hold during season, right? Yeah, it's during season. It's Regal Rampage, which is basically where we invite a bunch of teams from like the tri-state area, and we build like the competition field out of wood, and we invite teams to come and practice their like robot troubleshoot, their strategies and ideas on the field itself. And I think that's our biggest event because so far we have like over 20 teams coming this year. So it brings a lot of traction, and it's nice to meet local teams and see how they're doing along the build season.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's really cool, because I know like that's definitely something we struggle with, not having like a full field to practice on. And so that's a really cool opportunity for your local teams.
Right, and we noticed, excuse me, right, and we noticed this was like an issue throughout Long Island and local teams, that there's not many practice fields for teams to use, and not every team has the funding to, have their own field elements made. So we invite teams to compete in like a friendly manner, and it's mostly like a calibration day, so they get to play matches, and it helps them, tune their different systems on the robot, their autonomous, and make sure they get all their subsystems working properly. And it's just a nice day to talk to all sorts of local teams.
Thank you guys so much for coming on, and good luck for build season.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.